Hi everyone, my name is Mark Deary and I'm back with another short and sweet video today. It seems really dumb probably, but I thought today I'd make a video about how you say Deary. My name is Mark Deary, but it's written like John Deere tractors, D-E-E-R-E, Deere. And I don't know, it's been Deary my whole life. It's kind of said like Deary, like Dear Diary, but with a Y, you know, like Deary. And it's funny, every single day, I know I'm pronouncing it right because every single day when I generate subtitles in my editing app, it'll say, hello, my name is Mark Deary, and it'll have it written D-E-A-R-Y. And I have to correct it to D-W-R-E. This is why you get subtitles from me, because my name is never done right, so I fix my name, then I end up subtitling the whole video. But yeah, it's funny because, you know, my whole life you just take it, you know, you get called Mark Deere, and it's fine. But I thought, why not make a video on how you say Deary? So if anybody ever doesn't know how to say it, I can say, well, I actually made a video about it, and I can tell them to search the video and they'll find how you say Deary. So it's funny because in Australia, when I was growing up, people used to always say Nike, like Nike shoes, like Nike Air or Nike, you know, Max or whatever, I don't know. They would always say Nike. But in America, they say Nike, Nike. So it's a Nike Air. There's a nice pair of Nikes. And I was thought, man, they say Nike. Why don't they say Deary? And it used to always frustrate me, you know. I don't know. It's like, if it's Nike, why is Nike wrong? And if it's not Deere, you know, like if you can say Deere, isn't that wrong? Shouldn't it be Deary? But yeah, and so my poor wife, I've talked about Candy on so many of these videos, but yeah, her name's Candice Deary. And yeah, it's just so funny because when her parents, so her name's, it's Candice, but it's written Candice, I guess, C-A-N-D-I-C-E, C-A-N-D-I-C-E. And so a lot of people would say Candice when they see that name instead of Candice, but her parents named her Candice because they like the sound of it and they like the look of the name, Candice. And so yeah, I guess it would be like, the spelling would be like E-E-C-E maybe, like C-A-N-D-E-E-C-E, I don't know, but it's Candice. And so her whole life, poor thing, was getting called Candice. And she thought, actually it's Candice, you know. And she's become more assertive about that as she's gotten older. She's like, oh, just whatever. It's like, well, and I mean, I've known her as Candy since we were kids, you know, we always shortened it and I just continued doing it. I probably say Candy more than I say Candy with the D in it, but you know, her name's Candice. So the poor thing married me with the last name Deere and got called Candice Deere her whole life. And my kids, you know, they often get called up on parade to get awards or whatever and they get called their name Deere. Like, oh, that person obviously giving them an award doesn't know who they are because it's Deary. And it's funny because most of my mates always call me Deary as opposed to Mark, you know. And I guess because they think your name's Deere, but then, you know, if you have like a friend named Smith, they get called Smithy. I talked about my friend Michael Cox, who got called Coxie. So I think everyone thought I was saying Deary, like it was Deere, but then they'd add a Y, and you're like D-W-R-E-Y, you know. But no, it just is Deary. And then as a teacher, I never got called Mr. Deary, never. It's funny, I met this guy, when I first started teaching, I met a dude, he was in the Australian Teachers of Media organisation. And he never got called Mr. whatever his last name is. His name was just Derek. And so all the students, he became a principal, everyone still just call him Derek. And so I was like, well, when I'm becoming a teacher, I'm just gonna get called Deary because on film set, everybody calls me Deary. For 11 years working in film, everybody calls me Deary. So many people didn't even realize that was, it's like in Jackie Brown, the Quentin Tarantino movie, the character gets asked about the character Beaumont, you know. He's like, so is Beaumont his first name or his last name? And Samuel L. Jackson's like, I think it's probably his surname, I think he says, or maybe he says, I think it's his Christian name, but he picks one, and then it's wrong. His name's, it's his first name, because his name's Beaumont Livingston, but everyone just calls him Beaumont. They don't know if it's his first name or his last name. So everyone just called me Deary. And so when I became a teacher, it was easy to just transition from being called Deary to being called Deary. So all the students always just call me Deary, and I sign off on all my videos as Deary. So that is how you say Deary. I hope you learned something today, if you didn't already know how to say my name. But yeah, D-W-E-R-E, and it is a Deary. Great seeing you today, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.